Welcome to My ArundelBiz Podcast, powered by Anne Arundel Economic Development Corporation.
A podcast that celebrates the businesses and business owners throughout Anne Arundel County.
Hello and welcome to a beautiful and refreshing episode of My ArundelBiz Podcast. I'm Grayson Orfe.
And I'm Steve Adams. As Grayson said, it's feeling very springy out there, so we're very pleased to keep the 2023 celebrations that we keep talking about going, and also keep commemorating our 10th anniversary of managing the Volt Fund by introducing another one of the 138 and counting business owners in Maryland who've received a Volt Fund loan from AAEDC since 2013. And today's guest and Volt Fund recipient is Meredith Baker, owner of Skinlogic, a boutique medical spa located in Severna Park. Meredith, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, guys.
So to kick things off, if you could just tell us a bit about your background, how you got into the ever-growing medical aesthetics industry, and how you decided to start the company.
So my path to right now is actually quite rocky. I wanted to be a vet originally and worked with tigers in Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was the most amazing experience I've had, not like Tiger King, like more like helping them.
Yeah.
And then,
Awesome.
And then I thought I was going to be a marine biologist, and so I worked in like Whale and Dolphin Hospital in Florida, and then came back to Maryland and decided to become a nurse. So worked as a psychiatric research assistant while I went to nursing school. And then once I graduated, I was always loved kind of acute care and trauma and pediatrics. So I went into the PICU at Hopkins in 2010. And then, throughout that time, kind of got my nurse practitioner degree in acute care pediatrics, and moved to, for my first job as an NP, I moved to Children's in DC and worked in neurocritical care. And then kind of in the middle of working there, trauma is exciting until it becomes really sad. And so,
I can understand.
so I just kind of wanted to get into something where people were excited to see me and not, devastated. So I shadowed a plastic surgeon and just kind of fell in love with the field and started to do some part-time work in aesthetics. And it was mainly concierge. So kind of going to people's houses and doing services. It was then COVID happened. So it was kind of the perfect timing for it.
Sure.
Even though it was like a little slow because of COVID, but we were able to go to people's houses. And then I actually had to go back to school. So if you're a nurse practitioner, my degree was in acute care pediatrics. And so my scope of practice is only in a hospital with children. So I actually had to go back and get my family nurse practitioner degree, to work with adults outpatient. So I did that and, kind of questioned what I was doing because I was doing a lot at that time, and then just realized that I absolutely love the field. So I quit my full-time job in October of 2021, and then started Skinlogic.
Wow. And how'd you give it its name? Curious.
I wanted to do, and initially when I first got into the field, I was, loved Botox and fillers and, but I really started getting into the skincare, and just how important skincare is daily, but we can't really see the effects because you're not seeing yourself using it in 10 years and not using it in 10 years. And it doesn't show up like Botox right away. So I kind of wanted to incorporate something with skin and have my focus on skincare, and something maybe a little witty. I don't know. So
I like it.
It didn't take, it was very long in coming, but that's about how.
And logic makes sense because there's kind of, it hammers home the point that there's some science to all of it, you know? Makes sense.
Sure. So what brings you on is that you are our 130th Volt Loan recipient. Which is great because you recently received the fund. So what I wanted to know is what made the Volt loan an attractive option for you? Because there are many things out there. What about the Volt loan stood out?
So I met Anita at a Chamber of Commerce event, and she kind of told me about the Volt loan. And after meeting her and kind of talking with Steve, it was just very comfortable, and I felt, listened to. It was more of like it wasn't like a transaction. It was like,
Yes.
it was really nice. And because there are banks you can get things with and stuff like that, but I really liked, and I had to put a whole business proposal together. It was very a lot of stuff to do for it, which I liked. You know what I mean? Which was
Sure.
a great thing to have as well. So that's kind of why I got into it, and I realized that thank gosh that Steve had me take out more money than I thought I needed, because he's like, that's not enough. I'm like, it is enough. He's like, so I appreciate that too.
Because as a business owner, you're thinking of like, okay, how do I pay it back? Like, what am I doing?
100%.
And
All I think about is the debt. Like,
yeah. But it's those little things that you don't think about. And Steve is great at that. Like, he will go in and be like, no. Once he gives you that, no, you're like, oh, okay,
You're like, I'm seeing the numbers, Steve, and this doesn't say what you're saying. He's like, trust me, please.
Yeah. And then in the end, you're like,
thank goodness.
I should have trusted Steve. Yeah, he was good. He was good.
So that's good to hear. You had a great experience with our quote unquote money Steve is what we call him, because we've got 3 Steves on our staff. And we hear that from most Volt Fund I think all that I've talked to at least have had great experiences. So that's awesome. To get too specific, and I know a little bit about this from the recent Department of Commerce blog that to everybody listening, we'll be sharing on our social, that you were featured in as a Volt Fund recipient. But with all that being said, what did you use the funds for?
Yeah, so I was actually a home office, and so I really wanted to get into a brick and mortar, but there's a lot that goes into that, and I wanted to make sure that it was exactly what I wanted aesthetically looking, and didn't want to have to do it again, so that costs money, and so I used I had a little bit of a loan previously, so I paid off that, and then basically the rest of it all went to my kind of renovation and startup of the brick and mortar.
Great.
Yeah.
So speaking of the brick and mortar, you had your ribbon cutting a little while ago, and I just wanted to know, I went to your website, saw all the services that are up there, and saw everything, and 2 stuck out to me. It was Glowtox and Cryoprobe. Okay. Now, to 2 men who don't necessarily, we don't have skin regimens every day, which to be honest with you fellas, I think we do need to, because the skin is an organ, and it's really one of the most important organs of your body. So you have to take care of it, and have that youthful glow. Don't mind the gray hairs. But what I wanted to know was, with those 2 things, like, what are they?
Okay,
I'm scared of cryoprobe.
No, you shouldn't be. It's probably not the best name for it. But so Glowtox is literally just so VI peel. So it's a chemical peel. They have done research where previously you have not been able to do a chemical peel with Botox, and so they've done a ton of research where you can actually do them together. So at that 2-week mark, you have the glow from the peel, and then your face looks wonderful from Botox. So it's basically you get the peel, and then right afterwards you're getting Botox at the same treatment. So I just did it with Botox.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the people call it Tox Booster. There's other names for it too.
Got you.
And then the cryoprobe. So if you've ever been to a dermatologist, they have that their handy gun of liquid nitrogen that they just singe off precancerous skin. You can get skin tags, you can get a lot of different stuff. But the cryoprobe is very similar, but the liquid nitrogen is negative 320 degrees, and actually it has to see some dead tissue.
Like cryotherapy.
Yes.
Now I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So it's basically it's nitrous oxide, so it's a little bit warmer, but it's still negative 130 degrees. But it is also extremely pinpoint, so you're not killing any of the tissue around the benign lesion. And they actually use it a lot in pediatrics because it doesn't hurt as much. So, and you can use it around like delicate areas, like, like closer to your eye and stuff like that, to get like all benign lesions, so like moles, skin tags, any kind of like sunspots, anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I just had a quick question. One thing that as a person who suffers with migraines, I did hear that Botox actually helps with migraines.
It does.
Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so that is a little bit of a different training. So you have like the aesthetic training, and then you have more of like a treatment training for, like, people have TMJ, they have muscle, and migraines is part of that. So they have specific pinpoint areas like along your neck, and it's also a lot of units of Botox. So many times insurance can cover it as a treatment.
Okay.
But it's very specific as to where you're putting the Botox, and it doesn't do anything aesthetically. I mean, if they put it somewhere where it could be aesthetic, but that's not their point. It's basically just to help with migraines. I mean, some people do have a little bit of help when I'm doing their forehead, but it's not much.
So what you're saying is that I can't kill two birds with one stone.
No.
I can't get the beautification and the headaches. I have to pick one of the. Okay, all
You
right.
can get both.
you get
It's just
both.
one's
All right.
going to cost you, and one might be covered by insurance.
Listen. I was trying to get a 2-for-1 deal. Okay, all right.
And I'm curious, as Grayson was saying, with skin being an organ that's obviously so important to keep healthy and protect. I know this will be coming out with Skin Cancer Awareness Month behind us. I think that's May, right? I'm almost positive. I'm almost positive. Knock on wood. Let's hope it's May. But do you get some clients that the same way we'll often hear about a star athlete gets traded, they do his physical and they find some cancer that's totally unknown and it ends up saving the person's life. I'm curious, do you guys, or do you get some clients that you'll find skin cancer related things and then you refer them to a dermatologist or whatever?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the main questions I ask when I'm doing like an in-person consultation, regardless, is like how if they have a history of skin cancer, if their family has a history of skin cancer, and then how often they go to the dermatologist. So to be honest, it's really amazing to see that most people do go to the dermatologist yearly, which I was surprised about, quite honestly, because most people don't go to their doctor's
Pleasant
appointments,
surprise.
Yeah, but I have had people that there's, if I'm doing a chemical peel or I'm doing like just inspecting their skin, areas where, I'm concerned about, I just tell them to go to their dermatologist and, have them kind of get the second look at it to see if it's benign, and then we can like go on from there. But unfortunately, there hasn't been some astounding story that I saved someone's life.
Yeah, but that's good to know, though, that if it's somebody coming to you just to have this or that treatment make them look better, they could have something medical
definitely.
that they find out about as well.
Yeah.
So kind of related to that question, I, in my past life, before this awesome podcast and all other things job, I did some PR and marketing for Anne Arundel Dermatology, which is obviously pretty huge in the region. So I know that because of all the aesthetics that they offer, I know the field is constantly growing. So with all that in mind, how do you kind of pick and choose what to offer, how to kind of vet this or that new, chemical peel, cryotherapy, and should I think about, investing the time and learning about this and offering it to your clients? So
I've learned over the years to kind of, everyone has their client like niche, like if or who is your large clientele, and a lot of what I've noticed over the years that like a lot of my clients are newbies to everything. Like they're using, like me 4 years ago, Dove soap in the shower, and they take a shower 3 days a week.
Right.
So, which there's nothing bad about it.
No shower shaming.
Right.
It's okay. But so I kind of gear towards that a little bit first. And then I am a little bit crazy about research in general. So I do a ton of research on things before and then I do experiments on myself and my husband before I trial things on my clients. So some things stop in the middle there and I just don't I abort mission.
Right.
And then other things
He wakes up with a totally red, broken out face.
Your husband just goes to work smiling all day long.
He's just drooling. It's okay.
Interesting. That makes sense. Cool.
So what I want to know, kind of in wrapping everything up, I wanted to know, what are some of your top tips? Because you said that your whole past has been kind of a litany of things. Like you've done a whole bunch of stuff, which is kind of goes along with the theme of the podcast, because every business owner that comes on has done something extremely opposite of what they ended up making their business about. So what I wanted to know is what are some of your top tips for business owners that may be feeling like, I'm working this job or I'm doing whatever, but I want to do something else. I feel like I'm called to do something else. What are some of your tips for those listeners who may be feeling that?
I think, we all gravitate towards what's safe, and that's so normal, and that's what, I did for a long time, because it's scary to kind of venture out on your own, and working for someone else, you have a reliable paycheck. You're not, there's a lot that goes into it, and but just try to take the first step, and then you're going to make 50,000 mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes, and I still will make mistakes, but it's worth it. And to be able to kind of pick things, especially in my medical spa, that I truly, truly believe in, and I don't have to use something that someone else uses just because they like it. I've researched and done a lot of stuff on my own products, and you can do that for your own business. And that slam doors just means you're growing and you're learning.
Yeah. That's a great answer. And for my last one, because we obviously think Anne Arundel County is a pretty great place to start and grow a business of any shape or size. What are just some of your favorite things about being based in Anne Arundel County, both as a business owner and just as a citizen? What are some things you like to do outside the business as well?
So I love it. It just feels like especially Severna Park, kind of like a small town. And, in my even complex, there's a couple of different businesses, and we all just collaborate. And a lot of also women-owned businesses really help each other in Severna Park, which has been wonderful. And so it's just a nice community. It's a small community. You feel like you're a part of something like that, is familiar and comfortable, which I love. Spare time, driving my kids around to sports practices.
Yeah. We got a lot of that in our office as well. Yeah.
I'm not sure why we do 8 sports at once, but it's like when we were younger, we just did one sport for one season.
Oh, yeah.
Can we get back to that?
No, kids nowadays, it's like, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that.
It's also, I could say no.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's mainly what's good, and I just love living especially by the water in Severna Park, and just being able to my kids can go to our local Totlot River and fish. And who gets to do that? That's just it's such a cool experience, and all the outdoor stuff you can do.
Yeah, awesome. And when you're not giving your husband skin testing treatments, what are a couple of places you guys like to go? If you get a rare date night or whatever.
Yeah, we actually go to, we have a small motorboat, and we like to go just an hour even and go to Donnelly's. It's on the water.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
yep.
It's so, and we just actually usually don't even sit there. We just order out and then eat on our
boat. The boat.
Oh, that's great.
It's
Eating
awesome.
on the water.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We love Taco Vita in Severna Park.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of date nights when we can do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Those are good picks. Well, to close things up, thank you for telling us so much about the business, and obviously also your great experience with Volt and Steve and Anita. If you could tell everyone out there where to follow you to stay up to date on all things Skinlogic?
Yeah. So my website is www.skinlogic.org. And then my Instagram is _Skinlogic. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. And everybody out there, obviously you can watch this podcast and any of our past or future podcasts on YouTube and Facebook. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, all 4 of those, to stay up to date on the latest business and economic development news, events, and opportunities in and around Anne Arundel County. We'll see you next time.